We're on.
Hi, and welcome to Park Central. We've got a great panel for you today to talk about theme parks. I'd like to introduce everybody. We have Mike Sandoval from MUSE TV and Norm Gidney from Horror Buzz. How you guys doing?
Hey,
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So we do have a lot of stuff to talk about since the last time we did a podcast like this. The Downtown Disney District opened, and Knott's Berry Farm opened for their Taste of Calico.
Well, Ghost Town opened.
Ghost Town opened, not the whole berry farm.
Yeah.
I didn't see a single plant, to be honest, the entire time I was there. It was just the Ghost Town.
See?
Yeah. We went back in time.
Back to when it was only that. The chicken restaurant and Ghost Town.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly.
So, Norm, I know you didn't go. Mike, what did you think?
I thought it was a great event. I think it was something that was cool. And to be honest, I was really hesitant about going with, especially here in California with cases going up.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little hesitant about going into it, but you know what? It wasn't that bad. Everybody was social distanced. Everybody had masks on. People were really cognizant of what was going on. The only problem was with the lines. The food lines were too long, and there wasn't no social distancing within the lines.
Yeah.
Wait, there wasn't any social distancing in the lines?
Not as much because, like, you know what it's like standing in a line at a theme park. Everybody thinks they're going to be left out, that there's the one seat on the ride that's not going to work. So they have to crowd right up against the people in front of them to make sure that the ride ops see them to get them on the ride. Because we all know once that train leaves the station, it's never coming back.
No, it isn't.
So it was the same way with food, where if, they've only got, 4 or 5 hours left in the festival, maybe they'll run out of beer, and damn it if I miss out on my beer. So the social distancing did break down a little bit. And the employees went through and kind of tried to remind everybody, back up, you need to have your masks on, all that. One of the employees who I saw reminding people to keep their masks on had to take her mask off to scream it at the line. So, define irony. But the social distancing markers were observed when it's convenient and when
you could see them.
The line isn't too bad, So, but the rest of the park was fine. Walking around, everybody kind of kept their distance. I don't know why coronavirus just refuses to strike when we're all standing in a line, but that's kind of how it went from one place to the next.
I'm not going over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it was good. I had a good time. I really liked it. It was nice to be back in the park, and I think if nothing else, it was nice to just get in and take pictures of stuff. I'm kind of disappointed in all of the theme parks around the world that I've heard about. No one has let photographers in just to do, nice stock art. Like
You probably don't have the manpower,
Well, they're looking for people to get back to work. You could charge $50, $100, regular theme park admission, and be like, here, bring your professional setup and a tripod, and come get a picture of Main Street being empty, or the Universal Globe without a bunch of people crowding around it to do selfies. Like, these are shots we all try to get, and you never quite get it because there's usually somebody being an idiot in the foreground.
Disney, are you listening?
Everybody around the world could be doing this, because even, I'm sure there's super fans of like Alton Towers who would love to get shots of the roller coasters with the coaster running, but nobody on it, just as a nice stock thing. And I don't know of any parks that have allowed that to happen. So I'm a little disappointed, but doing stuff like this, or going to Downtown Disney, you can shoot through the gate at California Adventure just to get a view of the street being completely empty. It's a really unique thing that, unless you're a cast member there overnight, you're not going to get the opportunity to.
Yeah.
Well, the flip side to that is that if they did that, then everybody would now have those shots, and it would be like,
But that's how it always is. Everybody, once somebody gets one picture in front of a purple wall, every single person in the world has to get that picture in front of a purple wall so that we can all be as special as the first person.
And see, and I think that would have worked great like 25, 30 years ago before social media.
Mhm.
I think then it would have been a different story because it was a different time where you actually had to get a roll of film and actually get it
Yeah.
developed.
Yeah.
And you couldn't put it up instantly.
Yeah.
Now it's a different story because everybody has a camera, everybody has something on them, and they all want to get in and be.
Mhm.
And everybody's a critic.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's tough because I've worked for years as a professional photographer, and I go and talk to other professional photographers who are more experienced than I am, who've been in the industry longer, who make a lot more money than I do doing photography. And I'm like, I want to pick your brain. How do you do this? How do you do that? And a lot of people that I've talked to, not all of them, but a lot of them just say, oh, I leave it on automatic and, I just point and shoot.
Mhm.
And it makes me really sad that when you learn on film and you have to understand like what an f-stop is and how to expose a scene. And then you get a digital camera that they're so good now, you don't need to know anything. You really do just leave it on the green box and then aim it and you have a picture. So everybody can be a photographer, and iPhones are the same way,
And next up on Photography Central.
Sorry, that was
We
a personal
shoot it.
derailing.
We shoot
That's my
raw.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
We shot raw. So there you go.
We go
But-
on.
at Knott's Berry Farm, it was nice. They've got the Berry Tales
Mhm.
sign up, so we got to see that, even though we're never going to get to go on the ride. It was nice to see that.
Wait, you were able to go back near?
Yeah, they had it open in
Yep.
that where the berry tail. Well, it used to be.
What used to be the
Roaring
Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call it now.
That's
Because
kind of
that
a weird
is a weird
area. Still part of
Yeah.
the boardwalk-ish.
Yeah. It's the edge of the
Mhm.
boardwalk, but isn't that also where Gypsy Camp used to be?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
where Gypsy
Yeah.
Camp was.
Yeah, all that stuff. And I mean, that's always been kind of a neglected end of the park ever since the dinosaurs went in and they were like, cool for 5 minutes. And then, because Berry Tales was a big deal. And then that fell off, that went out, and the dinosaurs came in, and it just never quite captured that same kind of magic, as I understand. That was all a little before my time, but it just never quite had the same pull that it had. And ever since then, it's lacked an identity.
Yeah, I
Back in
can
my
tell you
day, we
what.
had dinosaurs.
Yeah. They had a
I
weird.
remember the
teeth.
dinosaur ride. That was
Well, I can tell you one thing that sucked.
okay. We're about to get in a fight right now. That was when I went to Knott's Berry Farm a lot as a kid because all my little friends loved doing it and loved going to the coasters and all the stuff. And I was a genuine grade A chicken, so I couldn't get on anything as big as like a mouse coaster. And I would just get on. I would do the Calico mine train if I was feeling really, really brave, but the downhill part freaked me out. So I would just do the dinosaur ride over and over and over again for like 8 hours so that I could feel like I'm going to the theme park with my friends. But, I was just too afraid to get on any rides. I did that ride over and over again. I loved that ride.
See, that ride was great to take a girl you were dating at the time and just make out the whole time.
Because it's all dark and
Yeah.
broken.
Because it wasn't Berry Tales. Like Berry Tales was when I was a kid,
Mhm.
and I loved that ride. I still remember how that ride went because it was so good.
Yeah.
Berry Tales was pretty amazing.
Mhm.
It was a better ride, but toward the end, it was definitely showing its age, and it just
Mhm.
wasn't speaking to, nobody was riding it because
Yeah.
it was falling apart and it was weird, and it was
Yeah.
it was a kid's ride.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then they went with Kingdom of the Dinosaurs, and they spent all the money, except then the finale was kind of not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, how do you do a meteorite impact, in a dark ride? Like, That's
No,
tough.
but I mean,
No.
I thought Kingdom of the Dinosaurs was fine. It wasn't great,
yeah.
but it was fine.
Yeah.
But
It did
anyway.
its job.
but
And
so,
then we got Voyage to the Iron Reef, which have you ever been on?
I had
Weird.
fun on it. But
Yeah.
again,
Look at-
you have to understand, Cedar Fair was only willing to spend so much money.
Yeah. Oh, it shows.
So the creative team did what they could.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It could have been a better ride with the upkeep and be able to make sure you constantly
Trust.
and it was one of those times where it was like it was from where 1080p was already starting to literally be phased out and 4K was coming into impact,
Yeah.
and that video was not 4K. So you
No.
kind of
Well,
show you
you know, and to further drive the point home, I mean, the bits of sets and things like that were in the ride,
Mhm.
those were fought for very,
Really.
very hard.
It was well done. The sets and stuff were well done. The design was really cool. It's just all that projected stuff was just. It
And
looks
what's
like
funny
it was
is
rendered
Cedar
on an
Fair
iPhone.
Cedar Fair would tell you reverse. They would be like,
Yeah.
you know, you don't need the sets. You need these big projections. And
Yeah.
yes, well, okay, we digress. So,
Yeah.
And you see that-
Anyway,
so you
Yeah.
went to the Taste of Calico. You were
Yes.
able to see, okay.
the Berry Tales stuff, and then they had cordoned off a lot of the other areas going into the boardwalk and going down past the Calico mine ride and all that stuff. But it was nice just to be able to shoot empty pictures of the train sitting there, and the log flume was turned off, so you know, the empty trough there, and all the coasters silhouetted in the sun. It made for some really cool artwork. But you know, it's such a limited event. I don't think, other than like, you know, everybody the tickets are now selling out. The entire first weekend is sold out.
Good. I'm really
and-
glad to hear that.
Yeah, they're the people who are really willing to put everything aside and go out to something like that for fun. I'm glad they're doing it, and it is going to be a really good event. I just don't know that, like, if I wasn't going to cover it for a story for work, I don't know that I would go on my own. And that's kind of how I feel about Downtown Disney as well, because I was there opening day and I was thinking, it's a shopping center. It's 10:30 a.m. on a Thursday. It's not going to be that crowded. I was hoping to get in, take a couple of pictures of somebody walking into World of Disney with a mask, and get home. And it was a nightmare.
Yeah, you forgot Disney fans.
But like, I underestimated just how intense they were. It was a lot. And like, I love Disney as much as the next Hobbit, but I don't ever think I would wait in that kind of line just to go to a shop of Disney stuff. And it wasn't even like, you know, they had some of the new 65th anniversary stuff, but like just a shirt or the mouse ears, which are cool and are available online. I don't know that I would want to wait for that if it wasn't for work, you know? Like City Walk, I went to I needed to get out of the house. I was dying. And so we went to Voodoo Donuts and we walked in a circle, you know, to go up to the gate and came back. And we were there for all of half an hour. It wasn't that crowded. Everybody was really responsible. The Universal cast members or employees who were wiping everything down were really on the ball.
Yeah, I actually popped by there on a Tuesday night, just on a whim. And yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, you just breezed in and breezed out. And
yeah, it was really nice. And that's kind of what I expected because, you know, it's a shopping center. No one's there going dressed as a minion. They're there to go to Voodoo Donuts, maybe Blaze Pizza, and then go home.
No.
Yeah, that's not how it was at Downtown Disney.
No,
so.
They go into Disney. They go into World of Disney. They buy all the stuff and then they put it on eBay.
Yeah.
But like, and you know, on a side note, I always took issue with those events where you paid to get in to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, huh? Anyway,
No.
I did that for pin trading for a long time. The pay to get in events where you have to pre-purchase all the stuff just to get in the door to go to the event. And like, I don't even want the pins. I just want to go to the pin trading event. But I had to spend $90. Yeah, oh yeah, they got me every time. I was a sucker for everything, you know, because
I'm
it's
sorry.
it was
sorry.
that
I'm not
special
gonna,
part.
I'm not going to yuck your yum, but
Looking back now, I'm like, what the hell was I doing? That's several $1,000s that I could put to much better use now. But at the time, it was, you know, right in that crux of life when it's like you're still living at home, but you're kind of an adult, so you have disposable income that you should probably be saving, but you're completely not. So it's just spent on whatever. And a lot of my friends spent it on booze, and I spent it on pins, and it was a waste either way. So, but now a lot of those pins are going for a lot of money on eBay. You know, the Splash Mountain ones at least.
Yeah, so Beanie Babies.
Yeah, great.
See, I don't feel as bad when I used to go to Disneyland and buy their commemorative tickets. You don't know about
that.
those?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, because I have a Indiana Jones commemorative ticket when the ride first opened. Because whenever you open up a new ride, they would have a commemorative ticket.
Yeah, they would do that.
Yeah,
they would definitely do that.
And I also got when they opened up the new Tomorrowland, I got the commemorative ticket of that one, and that one was with the ticket, and it came with a piece of the rocket, the original rocket.
Ah, cool.
So I have that one.
That's silly. That's like the time they destroyed the Hollywood backlot arches, and then next day had commemorative pins on the shelves from China. Now, how does that work if the arches were just built or destroyed?
Yeah,
and the product was made in China. That's something I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Anyway, so Taste of Calico was good.
Taste of Calico was really good.
It's going to be
Lots
sold.
Of food.
It's sold out this whole weekend.
Sold out this whole weekend. Next weekend is still available, and my sister's been voracious trying to find the tickets because she wants to go so bad, and
I'm
so she
glad
gives
to hear
me
that.
updates all the time. I think it's because, like, you know, you go through either you have coronavirus, now you have antibodies, or like you've been through the ringer with all this and you just want to get back to normal. You want to
sounds like a great drag name, Antibody.
She leads the show.
Doesn't she, though?
No. Auntie is in charge.
Please welcome to the stage, Antibody.
But yeah, I think a lot of people with antibodies now are starting to realize that the world is their oyster, even though, you know, it's not necessarily safe and you can still be transmitting it, and that could be why we have all this stuff.
And you may get
reinfected.
Okay.
Yep. And
so so Taste of Calico was great. It's a success.
It's really good. You know, it's I don't think, like I said, I don't know that a lot of people are going to go for it, other than the intense fans or the people who are just completely over the shutdown. It doesn't strike me as something that's going to be as open to the public as like Boysenberry Fest is. Like, oh, let's just pop by after work and go whatever. This is more of an event.
Yeah, they said, you know, reservation times, and now question, they did mention that they were timing people when they could come in, right?
I don't know about that. My tickets were timeless.
Okay, well then, so basically one tasting card allowed you entry for the entire time.
Yes. Yeah. And the one card gives you 5 foods at the thing, kind of like the Boysenberry Fest does. But when you go to the Boysenberry Fest and you go and get the boysenberry sausage on a hoagie roll, it's like this big. It's like a cocktail weenie.
Yeah.
And when you go to this thing and you get one of 5, it's a full size sausage on a Kaiser roll. Like it's a full meal, and you get 5 of those.
Now let's talk about those sausages, huh?
Exactly.
It's probably my favorite thing there.
Sausage.
I'm happy to talk about that.
No. Let's be clear. I love a good sausage, but you in particular had a run-in with several last night. Did you not?
We got to the point where we had 2 tickets between my wife and I, and it's just entirely too much food for 2 people to eat. We filled out 1 card and had an entire card still left over. So I said, let's just go and get a bunch of sausages and take them home, because I know they'll keep. They're really good. They go with everything, and You know, the sauce is packaged on the side. It was a logical thing to maximize our day. Because I don't think I'm coming back, so I don't want to waste it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need some water or something, Mike? Are you okay?
I'm just laughing because it's like, dude, the whole since yesterday, that's all you were talking about. I gotta go get some sausages. I gotta go get that.
They're really good. And that when you found us, we had just gotten our first one.
Listen, those are great, especially with the boysenberry barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Easily one of my favorite things.
Yeah, but laughter aside, the portions were good sized portions, whereas Boysenberry Festival, you get a literal tasting.
Yeah.
You don't get a good sized portion. But once again, it was hard to get to every single place I was offering something because the lines were so long.
The lines were so long.
So you're saying wait for the sausage.
Yes. If you're going to wait for something, go spend all 5 of your points at the sausage booth.
Go for the sausage.
Yeah.
Sausage.
But, you know, I mean, it was good. There was a lot of other good stuff there. It's just as the night wore on, it became like we were getting more full and we cared less about getting more food. So we kind of just hit that point where we were done. Because it's also, you get, you know, the two of us were sharing it and having a bowl of chili with cornbread. Of course, the boysenberry sausage that can't be left out. Bread pudding, biscuits, and the the cookies were like this big, filled with ice cream. For 2 of us, we couldn't finish it. I mean, so much food. And then I would like to try the wings. I would like to try the this, the that, whatever, but it's going to be at least a half an hour wait to get your bucket of wings, and I'm just not. I don't care anymore. I'm not.
They want to give you plenty of time to digest, is what it is.
Essentially, yeah. We would get one thing and go get in line for the next one, and just wait one to the next because it took so long.
Yeah. So, and how was entry going in? Was it?
It was great. We walked through. Come into the what used to be the California gift shop with the bear. They've turned that into their medical screening area, so you can walk through a little bit of air conditioning before you get into the medical, the temperature booth. And then they had FLIR cameras, the infrared temperature cameras that were, you'd walk past, and then if you had a spike, then they would send someone over to spot check you and do the temperature with the gun. And then you go through the regular metal detector and everything, which the metal detector process didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because they were like, don't take stuff out of your pockets and we're going to check your bag. And so they checked my bag and they said, hold it in front of you. I have a bag full of cameras and microphone and metal equipment. And they said, hold it in front of you when you walk through the metal detector. So I walked through and of course it went off.
Yeah.
Then they wanded me down. I said, wait, let me remove, because I've got like carabiners and stuff all over me and my phone and everything. And I said, let me take it out. He's like, no, don't worry about it. And he wanded me down and it beeped over both of my pockets and my belt. And he said, okay, go on. So I don't really understand.
Well, understand that they were expecting press.
And
so
and that's really nice, for not giving me an issue.
But for all intents and purposes, you felt safe.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was a good experience all the way through, and much better than I had thought before we went in.
Yeah, right. But I do have a gripe though, and not because of the taste of Calico, because I only got 2 tastings off of the card, and I was still hungry, so I went to Knott's Chicken Dinner Restaurant, and I went to the to-go order shop, and I ordered the 3 pieces of chicken. That bucket, it's a good price, $12.49, but this is already the 3rd time I bought chicken there, and it wasn't cooked all the way through. Where I've had to literally warm it up. Like I'm biting into it, I see that there's some redness in there, and I had to warm it up again, and to the point where I was just like, I don't want to go.
Yeah. You know what? Then let them know.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna do. Because that's the one thing, and I think I know what it is. After I was thinking about it, and me cooking with chicken a lot, I think it's because of the fact that it's a frozen chicken. What I've learned is that when you cook a frozen chicken and you do that and you fry it and everything, it's more likely that the blood is going to coagulate and drop it out.
Mm-hmm.
Than if you get a fresh chicken and you just come out of the bag, it hasn't been frozen, and then you cook it. It doesn't tend to, like, it cooks all the way through easier into the bone marrow. So I have a feeling that's what it could be.
Might be.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's our theme park food channel. Discussion for today and what it is.
Food Central.
Yeah, but I love, like, the mashed potatoes is pretty much what I was pretty much wanting, and those are good. The corn's good, but I was just like really disappointed with that. The fact that this is the third time that I bought chicken there, and it hasn't been cooked all the way through.
Third time. Well, let's be clear. It's all about the mashed potatoes anyway. So.
And the biscuits, those biscuits,
they're okay.
They're okay. I wish they were bigger.
Now, where has better biscuits than Knott's Berry Farm?
Let's see.
Don't say Popeyes.
Gus's.
Gus's in South Pasadena?
No, Gus's fried chicken on Crenshaw and Pico in downtown LA.
This sounds like a Twitter poll.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're gonna have to put.
I think I might put that out because I can't think of anywhere that has better biscuits than
Lucille's.
But there's a particular greasy bitterness toward the end of it for me. That I'm just like,
I
mean,
looked at the recipe.
Yeah.
There is a lot of fat in those biscuits, like a lot more than you would expect.
That might be the problem for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of fat in those biscuits because I wanted to make it and I realized, like, I just don't have the time or the patience to work with this amount of stuff. Like, I'm used to, like, Bisquick, add water, bake, and this was way more involved. That's why they're, so much more intense. But there's a lot of fat in them.
If you want a better biscuit,
you got to pay for it.
But on another thing, we had talked to somebody that we all know just recently. Went into Florida because this is the first weekend of MGM and Epcot opening.
I'm sorry, Disney Hollywood Studios.
Disney Hollywood Studios. Sorry, I forget. I still call it MGM because I've only been there once.
I didn't even pick up on that. It didn't even sound wrong to me.
Well, because that's what I remember, because that's what it opened up as.
Yeah.
but Disney Hollywood Studios. And we were able to get a glimpse of what it looks like over there in Florida with the second day of opening of that theme park. It looks pretty empty, to be honest. So
it looks pretty empty, but I will tell you, and that was actually Ken from Horror Buzz, one of my people, and he actually, right after we finished talking, he said that he and his wife did not feel safe there and they left.
That's what I was hearing him say, trying to find a quiet corner to get away from everybody. It didn't seem like they were crowded, but I guess it was all around him and they just couldn't find anywhere.
Right. There was a 70-minute wait for Mickey's Runaway Railway or something like that. And then
That's still shorter than it has been, but that's a lot.
And then, he was walking around showing us some of the what do they call those? Rest spots?
Rest areas.
Relaxation station.
Relaxation station. And, and you guys, I didn't see it, but I heard Charlie go, "Oh my God, it's indoors."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at the Star Wars launch bay, which is fine. I mean, I understand in Florida, you probably want to be somewhere in with the AC and all that. But like the one at Magic Kingdom that I saw on somebody else's stream is outdoor in a seating area. The one at Epcot is outdoor in a seating area. And there's,
Animal Kingdom was outdoors as well.
Yeah. I mean, most of Animal Kingdom is outdoors.
Yeah. So
it's like, I don't know why, if you have all these places, and even I think there's one in Star Wars Land that's under a bunch of umbrellas and stuff. So I don't know why you would choose to put one indoors, knowing what it's going to be like and knowing, you're taking the risk anyway. This is just kind of making it worse, is trapping it inside. As nice as AC must be, I feel like the AC would cut the horrible, intolerating heat of that mask that's ruining lives, that where you need to take it off. The AC could
Not
cool
to mention
you
your
through the
freedom.
mask.
Yeah, your freedom.
Not to mention your freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the cool breeze of America just blows freedom back into you, but it flows through the mask.
Yeah. Even though being a minority, we really never had that
Quiet, you.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
This could devolve really quickly because wearing a mask is now a political issue. But
Isn't that fun?
Exactly. Entitlement.
You know, years and years we've all been like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to be like a zombie movie or something? We're all like apocalypse junkies in every kind of media. And now that it's here, I'm like, I kind of like looking forward to it more than being in it. This is
listen, we horror fans have been ready. And, you know, so, you know, we're fine holding up in our little spot. We've rehearsed this. So we're good. You know.
I was promised a lot more crossbows to the stupid brain eaters out
there.
there.
It's not as glamorous as you would have expected, or as bloody.
Yeah,
but as full of adventure. But the point is, you are here.
Yeah. We got to live through it, so you know. I'll get the limited release T-shirt at the end, and it'll all be worthwhile.
I lived through a pandemic, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
Yeah.
And less friends.
Yeah. It's, you know, I think this is going to, not to keep harping on the pandemic, but like that is life right now. I think it is going to change friend groups and how you go out. Cause like, I don't know of anybody other than my middle sister who would be willing to go out to a theme park right now.
Well, I'm not. There's no way.
Oh, no.
No way. Like, and I've been slowly opening up my my socialization circle to people that I know have been very, very responsible, and also who have who I can easily contact and go, okay, you know, I was in touch with this person, or, you know, let them know if there's any sort of an exposure.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't, you know, get after me for that, you know, so it's also really sad that you would feel like you were being shamed if you were exposed, you know, somehow, that you'd be afraid to tell your friends. But
it really is. It's my best friend got it and had a time. He had a real tough time with it because he was staying in a house with a couple of people, you know, a couple of his friends, just roommates, and they kicked him out. His job said you're not allowed to come back without a negative test. His girl didn't want to see him. Like it was this whole thing. And then his girl finally was like, okay, if you have it, I have it, because of, you know, everything else. So he holed up with her, and now they're like still fine. And that's who he's leaning on through all this, because everybody else is saying, get away from me, you know, like a leper, that he can't be trusted to be around anyone, even though he was exposed from being forced back to work before they should have opened. You know, he was exposed and they did the contact tracing and all that stuff. And it was because night one of reopening a bar, he was exposed to somebody who came in and had the virus. So it really is. And he was nervous about how he's going to tell his family, how he's going to, because he was
never be something that causes you concern.
Yeah.
It should be, you should be letting the people know so that immediately everybody can be responsible and safe.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, it's not his fault. He didn't, like, it wasn't because he was going out and partying. He had to go back to work if he wanted to keep his job. And that's where he got exposed. And now he felt bad for causing the bar all kinds of undue distress and needing to clean and all this stuff. And he felt bad that he was doing this to everyone and carried that shame for a long time. So, you know, I've been talking to him about that you can't internalize that kind of thing. It's not your fault when you get it. And I think at a certain point, it is going to be a win for most of society, for 90% of society. If we're ever going to achieve herd immunity, it's going to have to pass through all of us at some point. you know.
Hmm.
And I think the more people that have it, the less stigma there will be. But right now, it's still on the climb of people who have had it and lived. So it's
still spiking.
to get used to.
Mhm.
A
Yeah.
new record every day.
Yep.
But luckily Florida is clean, so everybody out there is super safe.
Oh, right on.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm glad California's
that-
not back open. I can say that.
Oh, I know. Exactly. But
Right.
but like yesterday, I didn't take off my sunglasses off once. Because the one thing that I know of and the one thing I heard from people who got it on planes was the fact that they got it because their masks were covered, and some doctors think they got it from it getting in your eyes.
Yeah, that can happen.
And with if you're wearing contact lenses, you already know that dust gets on your contact lenses very easily.
Ew, really?
Yeah, so that's why I never took off my glasses because let it hit the glasses
That's
on the mirror.
fine. Why would you wear contacts if dust is going to rub in your eyes?
Well, that's the way. Well, that's the way it is in life in general.
Everybody
that's
gets
horrible.
There's all kind of particulates that get into your eyes, Charlie.
But like tears will wipe it away, and like you rub your eye and it goes out, and there's nothing you can do about that. But if you have contact lenses holding the dirt there, so you're like rubbing it, and it just rubs the sand deeper into your eyes.
Well, that's why they have re-wetting drops.
Oh,
because every time it gets dry, dust will get onto your contact,
so that you can get re-wetted.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's gonna make that okay in my head. There's nothing.
When you get older, these are things that happen when you get older.
No, I should be wearing glasses every day. I just don't. I would rather deal with not seeing things because it's just too much of a hassle.
That's what the photographer in the group says. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I can zoom in with my camera, so I carry it and I can look at far away stuff with my camera.
Okay, that's you. That's your
I thought it was a person, but I wanted to be in a stick.
Yeah, and sometimes I have my wife read menus to me like I'm 70, so she's okay with that.
Bless her.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, she's great for dealing with a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily, she doesn't watch this, so I can talk about how great she is and not feel guilty.
And that was a sappy moment of the show.
Yeah.
So there you go. But yeah, that's the one thing. Like, luckily enough, like yesterday at Knott's, people were wearing masks. They weren't taking them off, saying, "Oh yeah, we got through security. Let's take it off now."
No.
So I didn't see any of that, which was good, which made me feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's just, like if you decide to go to one of these things, you just got to be cautious.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really maintain the limited capacity and social distancing.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping too, because like when I was talking to some people yesterday, I heard they were looking at a number of 1,000 people for this event. And yesterday did not have 1,000 people.
What, for the entirety of the run or for each night?
Oh no, each night.
Okay.
Well, no, not each night. Friday was 1,000. Saturday and Sunday was 2,000. Was the max. But it wasn't that. They cut off like at 500.
I would believe 500. I don't think putting 1,000 people in Calico there's not enough room for that.
And I think that's why they cut it off at a number like 500, because then you can judge and see what it's going to be like, because they parked everybody onto the old where the marketplace parking lot is on the south side of the lot. And when you see people, I was driving in, seeing how long, when I got there, what the cars were like, it was only 4 rows deep. And when I got out, it was completely full. But
okay, you're talking the lot next to Ghost Rider and all that?
Yeah, next to Ghost Rider, that's across from the hotel.
Okay.
And it was crowded, but when you go inside, there were places where you could walk around and it was empty. Wherever there was a food station, the lines is what made it look like it was crowded. But if there wasn't any lines, it would be just like walking through.
They also mentioned in the press release that some of the stores would have entry, but then the exit you had to go out through a different door or a different
Some of them
route?
did.
Yeah.
Some of the standing stores did, and I didn't see in any of those stores that did. I didn't see any individual follow those rules whatsoever, including myself.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't.
also the stores that we went into, one of the stores that we went into, there were only like maybe 3 people in the store.
Yeah.
They did say that they were keeping the stores at 50% capacity.
Yeah.
You don't need to restrict it. It's not, because it's also, it's cool stuff, but I saw one thing of masks, but everything else is just the normal run-of-the-mill, Knott's Berry Farm merchandise. So it's not like it normally is, where you have to get the special seasonal release, you have to get the event t-shirt. There was no event anything.
It was just food stands.
Yeah, it was food stands, and then the marketplace. A few of the marketplace stalls were open, but they had less stuff than normal.
Okay.
But the shops, like the standing shops, it was all just the normal Berry Farm merchandise that you get at the marketplace. That's always been available. I think the newest thing, like I said, the masks were new, and they had 3 different designs of the printed masks, and then they had the cookbook, which came out, I think, right before the shutdown. That was the newest thing, but everything else is like you can get it any day of the year. It's all the same thing. And unlike Disneyland, they're not buying that stuff just because it's there. It was they're usually, you get stuff, the event merchandise. You don't just go and haphazardly walk out with gigantic bags of stuff just because. So there wasn't a whole lot of demand. I didn't see anybody waiting to get in a shop. I didn't notice anyone following the in this door, out that door kind of stuff, because there really was no need for it. Most of the time I was alone in the shops.
And also, too, the way they were able to get past a lot of things was the fact that they sold it as an outdoor restaurant, and that's pretty much what it was, an outdoor restaurant.
Yeah.
Where you could go in, get food, sit down and eat. Everything was social distancing, and what they put out there to make this happen actually what came true. It came through. It was like an outdoor restaurant.
It's a really good idea for an event, and it got everybody back to work, which is, I think, that's
to me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
I just want it to happen safely.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that, like, a lot of the people who were working there were very happy to do. Was the fact that a lot of them were happy to be working, to be there in the park working, because I know how, especially for a lot of theme park employees, how hard it's been during this time.
Yeah.
With all the shutdowns and everything, especially here in California, since we've been longer, with making revenue and being able to to pay your bills and to pay your rent and everything you have to do to survive. And you could tell a lot of them were very happy to be back.
The one thing I will say about the employees is it's a new way of interacting with people, because you can't really smile, you can't have any kind of inflection. And a couple of people who I encountered who were a little more quiet, a little more timid, were difficult to deal with, because they're wearing the mask and then the face shield, and then they have a plexiglass barrier, and then they're also inside, back under a little hutch, back further away, and I have to stand back from the register. So you can't be timid and I sorry, I don't, can I just you can't do that, because I can't hear a damn word you're saying. The opening in the plexiglass is this big, and you like pass your card through there, but you really have to, with all that stuff on and being inside where there's air blowing and not out here, and then the Luke Bryan music is blasting outside here, it's impossible to hear anything. So it did make communication not only between us, but also I saw communication between the employees was difficult, because there's so much going on, and you can't, like across a crowded room, you can't read lips, you can't see any signs. It's all has to be voice or very clear, big motions. And it's going to take a little while for everyone to get used to that. And that's, across every aspect, not just of theme parks, but of everything where we're doing this kind of personal protective stuff. it's going to change the way we interact, and especially in these service, the guest facing service industry things. You're taught from day one, you have to smile, you have to be friendly, you have to make eye contact, all that kind of
you have
stuff.
to, yeah.
And we're down to eye contact sometimes because you're navigating through a series of plexiglass tunnels. So I think it's going to change the way we interact with each other in these type of circumstances, which I'm okay with, because it's better to be safe and speak from your diaphragm than to take off your mask and mumble,
Says you.
I personally, I like it, because so many of the people that, especially when you're dealing with stuff like this, as an employee, the people that you deal with who you're telling, please don't climb on that rock structure and put that back in your pants and don't pick that up. All those kind of things that you see as a theme park employee, that you have to smile and say, "Excuse me, sir, please don't take that out."
Let's
go back
a little bit.
We're just going to gloss over it. It's not a big deal.
No. Okay, you were a cast member where?
I was a cast member at a park that I won't mention, but it's the only place where they call them cast members.
Right. So, when you were at Disneyland or Disney Resort,
or Walt Disney World,
I did. I had a few occurrences with indecent exposure, and a lot of okay.
Of course, I'm gonna latch onto that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it was just like a kid, right? Just like,
oh, there was one kid, and this is the one, I think I've talked about this one before, that I'll never forget. The kid the mom wanted to watch the parade. The kid had to pee. So she turned him around facing away from the parade, peeing in the bushes. And when I was like, "Hey, you can't do that," and she picked him up still peeing and just walked down the street. She left her stroller with all of her purchases from the day and her bag and everything, and just walked away with him peeing down the street. And when he ran out of pee, we lost the trail. And so I don't know where she went, but I stood with that stroller hoping she would come back, because I didn't want somebody to take it. I stood with that stroller until the end of the parade. We cleaned everything up, and she still wasn't back. So we took it over to Lost and Found, and I don't know if she ever came to get it.
She was.
That's the reason why we can't have nice things.
I know.
But the point is, individual people are reasonable and smart and considerate. Crowds are not those things. Crowds are a bunch of scared wild animals trying to see what they can get away with. And the only way it doesn't devolve to throwing elbows is if you're forced to be friendly and polite and nice, like, you please stop doing this, please get down. And then if it gets to a certain point, you call in security or something else to deal with it. But the first line of defense is smiling, nodding, reassurance, all that kind of stuff. And they train you for it as you go in. And you can't do most of what they train you to do anymore. Not that any of it was ever physically touching, but like, if somebody, and I keep thinking about this, about the haunted houses. I know it's an issue, having spoken to people who work in some of the bigger haunted houses at the parks. There's always an issue with somebody hitting an actor. And they're like, "Oh, well, I got startled." And it's like, no, we saw the footage. You made a conscious decision. You got startled and then you wound up. Like, you're using it as an excuse. That is on any given day, that kind of mentality of, what can I get away with? I want to do this and explain it away. For right now, if you're in the dark, you can't see somebody's face. You can't really hear them over the sound of chainsaws and screaming and everything else. I'm not going to get within 6 feet of you to touch you and pull you back. What's going to stop somebody from anything like that? Like, there's nothing you can do. And hopefully the characters will stay 6 feet away as well. But if that guest chooses to close that distance, he can probably do it in a short amount of time, and there's not a lot you can do. So it's things like that where it becomes a safety thing is, are you going to risk being close and sharing air and touching someone to stop something else, or to stop from pulling apart a set or climbing on a rock or any of that kind of stuff? It's just an added layer of all this. And once you remove that initial, like, sir, hi, please step down and enjoy your day, you know, you can't do any of that.
I am
anymore.
Well, that's a good thing to transition to as well, because like here in LA, I don't know if you saw Santa Clarita Drone. It's another YouTube channel that's been showing drone footage of Universal Studios Hollywood. There was construction over the last couple of weeks of mazes at Universal Studios Hollywood, and just recently on Thursday they did another drone footage, which I'm still kind of shocked that they even haven't contacted him or stopped them or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't see how this is legal, but
yeah, I don't see how it is either. But on Thursday, he posted a shot with them testing the Jurassic World thing, going over the Super Nintendo World. But he showed the mazes that were being built, and the ones that were behind that big wall.
Yeah, the backdrop.
They were taking those down already, which already had a facade on it. They had everything already completed, just not with the everything they're going to put on them on the walls. But they did start taking down a lot of the facades.
Yeah, I don't see how it's going to happen out here. I hate being the bearer of that news. I hate it. But I don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah, me neither. I really do not think it's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
And people were talking about it yesterday because they saw the sets for at Knott's Berry Farm when you're walking underneath Ghost Rider, how you can look into the fence. And people were getting excited. Oh, wow, they're going to have Knott's Scary Farm.
Well,
and I'm like,
spoiler alert, those things are kind of up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They stay up. So
yeah.
So
I remember at the beginning, close to the beginning of the pandemic, Norm, you shared an image that said, everybody behave yourselves so we can have a Halloween this year.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that ever since, of like, when it started in March and we're closing for 2 weeks, I never thought Halloween was at risk. And now here we are.
We didn't think Midsummer Scream was at risk.
Yeah.
And then we had to pull that.
Yeah.
You know,
that's yeah.
You know, at least I'm not gonna say it.
No, say
no.
This is a safe space.
No.
Yeah. But I kind of know what Norm's thinking though. And I kind of feel it because I could already tell you. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but everything that was supposed to happen in 2020 is not going to happen.
No. It's this
You
year is
shut
canceled.
up. Well, I mean, I'm hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's like if people would have in this country would have done like in Europe and every place else and been responsible, we wouldn't be in this predicament right now. We may have had a Halloween. We may have had a Christmas the way we traditionally do it. We're going to see movies push back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already hearing.
I will say that this Christmas will go unaffected because I never went to see my family. No. Just kidding. It was easy. It was an easy joke.
But like,
yeah, Christmas is going to be a big test.
Yeah, and then I just don't see. I don't see how anything is going to be able to open at this time the way things are. It's almost impossible to see it. And I'm thinking like I was telling you, Charlie, yesterday at Knott's, just walking around. I don't think we're going to see a theme park completely open until February or March of next year.
Yeah.
Well, people are not going to be moving forward until there's some sort of a vaccine on the books.
Yeah.
When that happens, things will start moving forward.
Yeah.
Then when there is an effective treatment, things will move even faster. Because right now you could still end up getting it if, you know, even if you got the vaccine, you could still get a mild case of it. But but I mean, that's what they're foreseeing. But there's still no effective treatment plan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they need to cure it more than prevent it, I guess.
Agreed, but
Yeah, it's already out there.
you know.
Yeah, so it's what it is now with theme parks and what we're going to see
Mhm.
in other things. And it's sad. It's sad because a lot of people are going to be out of work. A lot of
Yeah.
people, I mean, it's just not going to be good, and it's going to take some time for us to recover and to things to go into normal. Every time a month passes by, it's going to take a little longer for that normality to come back.
Ugh.
And I hate to say it, and I hate to put it that way, but
it's the
Hey,
truth.
Michael, why you're such a downer?
because I'm Latino and I'm used to negativity. That's why. Maybe other people are not used to negativity, but growing up in the hood, you get used to negativity.
And I'm the one on Prozac.
Exactly. But no, I mean, it's just what it is, and it's sad.
Yeah.
And I don't think we could. I mean, we could have prevented all this and wouldn't be in the situation.
But
But
there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas that you can't live in the past. There's 4 years of woulda, coulda, shouldas that we would all like to do over, but we're not. That's a
whole other topic.
That's
for
a different
show.
podcast. I'm sure there's a lot of those out there that talk about that. But you could just watch The West Wing and imagine for a minute and live in a fantasy world, and then move on with your day and just try to get by. And with the theme parks, at least there's something we can watch now with all the streamers who are on the front lines. These talk about frontline heroes going out and risking themselves every single week to go and continue their streams. Like, I watch Resort TV 1 all the time, and it's nice to see it, and it's nice to feel like things are normal, but like there's no way I would be able to do that. I am not brave enough to go out there and keep doing that. And there's a lot of people doing it for the opening. I think it'll be interesting to see how many people keep doing it week to week as things continue.
Was there a report of Hong Kong like closing back down?
Yeah,
or
it did close back down.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
Yeah. So I think
so painful.
Florida's not going to close down. I think they said until they can link a specific outbreak back to the Disney parks or the Universal parks specifically, then they will shut them down. But other than that, if it's just a general upswing, it stays open.
So I have a final challenge for you gentlemen before we leave.
Oh.
Okay. Now, I was going through some old boxes and books and things, and I found my very first Disneyland annual passport. So I have to share it with you. So, okay, ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see.
It's so cute.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
That's even older than mine. Shoot.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay, so I want to see your first passes the next show.
Yeah, I still have mine. How much was it back then?
This proves I'm a bigger Disney fan than all y'all.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't afford one back in the day until I think how much was that pass when you first bought it? You remember?
You know what? I think that my dad bought that for me, and it could not have been more than 200.
Oh no, it was. I would say it's less than that because my first pass was 94, and it was $99.
You have to understand too. They didn't do like blackout dates, or they didn't do. Yeah. They just simply said this is a ticket to get in all year, or it's not.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, they didn't have tiered pricing. They didn't have anything like that. So this was when I was about 15 and a half. Yeah, and that was actually when Splash Mountain was. Oh yeah, it's April 1990. So,
because I know I bought my first pass in 1992, and I remember I paid $99.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember.
I had one in 94, and my whole family got them, and it was $99 a piece.
And now they're about $1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
If you want to compare it with everything that you're able to get with those old passes,
Well, they
$1,200.
I found an ad for something in, I think it was in the 70s. They
Wrong
did
show,
some
different
promo something. What?
Wrong show, different channel.
You go there way too fast.
Easily. He's worse than I am.
I found an ad for something in the 70s where they did like a special, you know, like everything all inclusive ticket for without having to use the ticket books, like an unlimited ticket.
Yeah,
and
those
admission.
were,
Yeah,
those
and
were heavy duty.
so they did that for like 6 months or a year to come in and do those, I guess, just as like a field test to see if that system would work. And even as a special event kind of thing, comparing it to today it's I think $150 to get into one park. And by comparison, you know, adjusted for inflation or whatever, it comes out to like $37 in today's dollars, which if you can make a profit off of $37 a piece at that time, I mean, granted, we're running a little more electricity, but like, let's ramp that up maybe to $50, you know? It doesn't need to be 3 times that price. It's just too expensive.
Will pay it. That's
people
listen, if
I
people are
do.
gonna pay it, then I as much as I hate how much everything costs at the Disneyland Resort or with Disney in general, people are paying it, and so they're stupid not to charge it.
Yeah. If you can make the money, you should.
Yeah.
It's all demand. It's all demand.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. Oh God, what a dour note.
Exactly.
All right. I hate ending on a sad note, but next week or next time I will bring my first pass. I've got it around here somewhere. I'll dig it out.
That includes you, Michael.
Yeah, I still have all my passes. I've kept them all.
All right.
I beat you all.
Yeah, you do, because mine is not laminated. So you did beat me.
Yeah, they actually they actually, I remember the process because they had to take this picture and then it was like they had to cut it out and then they had to put it on this and then they had to put it through the laminating thing.
Even though it doesn't look like you, it looks more like Bart Connor.
Who?
Bart Connor after his 1984 Olympic gymnastics win. He was a gymnast in the 84
You're
Olympics.
talking sports to a theme park group. I feel like you're in different worlds.
And to a gay theme park guy, I'm like, what?
But still, gymnastics, huh?
Fair.
Okay,
yeah. Cool. All right. So, what have you guys got going on? Norm, go.
Okay. Well, horrorbuzz.com, and we are reviewing tons of independent films lately. Recently, a remote immersive experience, and about to put up our coverage of the Taste of Calico too. So,
all right, Mike.
Yeah, we got Taste of Calico videos coming up. Little walkthrough of what we saw yesterday. Also, too, at the there's going to be some movie reviews coming out this week, as well as at the end of next week. We are at Comic-Con at home. What that's going to be like, I really do not know. But we are hoping to get a couple of great guests coming on board that we're going to be talking to from shows coming up, hopefully in the fall.
And I'm with Park Central every week, either in a panel format like this or audio only, anchor.fm/Parks Central. All right. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks.